I guess one big takeaway from me from that particular session was that partnerships and collaborations come through the connections we have with each other. And this is exactly what IDEA is trying to create. It is you in this room, the connections you've made, challenging each other, bouncing ideas around, and working with a vibrant spirit that allows opportunities to spark. To that end, we're moving on to the next part of our agenda, which is IDEA's collaboration labs, which are so important to how IDEA operates. These labs are where the ecosystem comes together, working on practical initiatives which are leading to one of our two objectives, either strengthening innovation ecosystems or scaling innovations. The labs are where IDEA runs its demonstration models. These are tools, frameworks, approaches, building on existing infrastructure, building new infrastructure, which will accelerate our collective impact. So you are about to have the opportunity to go into one of two parallel workshops. You'll have the chance to go in two throughout the day, one this morning and one this afternoon after the lunch break. These have been deliberately selected and curated. There are two workshops which are focused on existing infrastructure, which is already part of the IDEA ecosystem, but they are looking to be optimized and supercharged. And this is where you come in to try and help make that happen. Two of the demonstration models are in their infancy. They're looking for co-creation and design and support around that. So get your big, beautiful brains ready to help these initiatives go to scale. I'm going to invite each of the workshop leads to come up on stage. We're going to do a 2-minute flash pitch where they have the opportunity to try and get your attention and get you to come to their workshop. Okay, so get listening and ready so you know which workshop you want to come to today. So first of all, I'm going to invite David Saunders from Britta Bridges. He's going to come up and talk about some work that Britta are doing with IDEA to look at how we can better connect funding across our ecosystem and how innovators can better optimize the current funding that they have and the new funding that they're trying to access. David.
Thanks, Max, and good morning, everybody. So I have a pretty short pitch here. The first thing is I'm the first session, and you don't have to leave this room. So sorry, Luke. There's some behavioral biases that may play into our favor. No, as Max was saying, we've been working with the IDIA team and actually GIZ as well over the last year to try to build a tool that can help us to better coordinate and align across a venture's funding journey. I think what we've been hearing a lot in the room this morning, I think we're all having these conversations everywhere, is we need better collaboration. It's really easy to talk about. It's often very hard to actually do in practice. There's a lot of things that get in the way of that. So our session, I'll be presenting some research that we've done over the last year, looking at what the current landscape of the One Health ventures in Africa look like. You know, who's funding what, what's getting funding, where things are breaking down. We'll then look a little bit at why those things are breaking down. I think a lot of you know this. There's a lot of, one of the great things of the One Venture space is we have a lot of diversity of funders. One of the great challenges, we have a lot of diversity of funders. So we'll be looking at why those things are happening. And then in the last bit of the session, we'll be introducing a data and intelligence tool that we've been building with IDEA. And my colleague Audrey, can you put up your hand, please? Over the last few months, it's very, very much in the prototype stage, so very much in the theme of co-creation. But it'll help us to basically see who's doing what in real time, so we can start to think about what is the data and intelligence that we can use to actually start to improve coordination, and what's data and intelligence not going to do that we need other interventions for. So if you're like Elena, Emily, or Mark, who are going to be joining us, they're my friends I just made over in this corner. I roped into the session. Please stay in the room after this, and we really look forward to discussing with you. Thanks so much.
Great. Thank you, David. Luke, tough act to follow. Cool. So Luke Heyman is here from Sustainable Africa, a relatively early stage startup, which is looking at the disconnect between ESG global initiatives and policies and local realities. So this is a masterclass session, a really chance for you to get immersed in this work, and I'm going to invite Luke to say a few words about this. Thanks, Luke.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So, yeah, I'm Luke. I'm the founder of Sustainable Africa. It's a social enterprise and a platform for the continent. And my pitch is, if you want a fresh space to work in, then come to my session. It's in a different room. But seriously, across Africa, and in fact, all emerging markets, there's a real increase in pressure for enterprises to comply with sustainability. And it's coming from lots of different angles. It could be local regulation, you could be trying to raise capital, it could be you're trying to access an export market or even capture market share in your own country. But most of these frameworks, they're not designed with emerging economies in mind. They really come with a global north mindset. And that creates some really serious disconnects. So, with smallholders or cooperatives, you might not be able to capture the informal labor practices. Many of us, we're based here in Kenya. If you think about our supply chain and procurement, a lot of it can be verbal contracts, it can be cash payments, and it can be things that are hard to capture in sustainability frameworks. So we're going to run a session that tackles this and looks at these disconnects between local and global. We've got a star-studded cast, joined by Mr. Henry Kinyua from the President's Economic Transformation Secretariat. He just told me this morning he meets with President Ruto every week, so if you want to influence what he shares in that briefing, come to our session. We're also joined by a really impressive founder, Megan, who's founded 3 incredible businesses here in Kenya and is part of an incubator to grow them outside of this market. And as well with a colleague, Obed, from the World Fair Trade Organization, who's going to be sharing some thoughts around equity and fair trade. And Jote at the back from the United Nations Industrial Development Organization. So there's going to be an interesting discussion. It's going to be collaborative. It's not us presenting. We really want to share ideas and hear your thoughts and hear your challenges and opportunities. So please join us. If you want sustainability that works in emerging markets, come and join our session. Thanks. Thanks, Max.
So Luke's session this morning is going to be in the Kigali Windhoek room, so just outside, round the corner, and you'll find Luke and his team out there. As David says, the session on Capital Stacks, Capital Continuum is going to be in here. We've got 2 more pitches to hear for this afternoon, so this will be after lunch. Okay, so I'm going to invite now Emmeline Skinner and Charles O'Malley. They're going to come up and talk about country collaboration models for innovation system strengthening. So this is really about localized collaboration, how we can make that work. And so Emmeline is going to talk a bit about the Kenya Innovation Ecosystem Funders Forum, KEIF, and Charles is going to talk about C3 Labs.
Thank you, Max. Hi, I'm Emmeline from the FCDO, the British High Commission, here in Nairobi. And we're running a session this afternoon, which we would love to have your participation in, looking at how do we make collaboration happen at country level. I think we've all seen the success of models like IDIA at the global level, but we're still challenged with how do we make it work at a country level? What are the kind of platforms that work, the mechanisms, what is the governance, who needs to be part of that? Here in Kenya, we've started trying to do this through the Kenya Innovation Ecosystem Funders Forum, known as the KEIF, and we will be sharing that model with you, a little bit about where we've got to and how we're partnering with IDIA to really try and step up and do more around kind of collaborative action and learning. But we'll also be hearing from Charles's model, which is another different model, which he'll explain. We want to hear from you about what's working in your countries. We know we've got lots of partners from Kenya here who we would love to bring in and hear, join what we're doing in the KEIF and on the Kenya level. But we also want to hear from those of you from other countries. What's worked in your country? How does collaboration work? What would the value of these kind of models be? And really make this as participatory and engaging a session as we can to really learn from each other and to see how we can take these informal networks that we're starting to form to another level. So that's to kind of set the scene. I should also say we will also be joined at the end of the afternoon by Dr. Tony Mwanza from the Kenya National Innovation Agency, who's going to share a little bit from the government perspective about what would they like to see. How can we as development partners and ventures be more collaborative and work better with government? So we'll hear both perspectives. But over to Charles.
Thank you. Hi, Charles O'Malley. I am from UNDP. We are launching something called C3 Labs. We're pre-launch. We will be launching in 2026. We have funding from the Global Environment Facility to prototype labs, one in Kenya and one in Thailand. And the aspiration is to create a model that we can scale to multiple countries and address multiple issues. The focus of the labs is addressing complex challenges. So how do you strengthen collaboration on complex challenges, particularly institutional change? So particularly large, how do we influence large institutions? So we're talking about governments, we're talking about global institutions. So we're presenting a little bit about the lab model, and we're hoping for some feedback from Kenya-based potential partners.
Very much. Okay, last pitch. Moses Waweru is going to come up, going to talk a bit about what the MLC are doing and how they're trying to catalyze partnership for collective scaling. Moses.
Thank you, Max. Good morning, everyone. How many of us were here yesterday when Tom was talking about Collabrium? Wonderful. So, this afternoon we're going to have a session called Partnerships for Collaborative Scaling. And we're going to look at collaboration from 3 different perspectives. The first one will be collaborations facilitated by an ecosystem catalyst, and we're going to have a panel that I will be moderating, and we're going to take some lessons from some work that we've done at the Million Lives Collective in Kenya, and also in the region. We've also done some work in Ethiopia and Tanzania. Then the second partnership. So this first one, we'll be looking at how partnerships can look like when an ecosystem, when there's a catalyst in the ecosystem. The second one will be public sector partnerships. It is thought that governments don't always lead. So this particular one will be looking at how partnerships can look like when they're led by government. And finally, we're going to have a panel on innovator-to-innovator collaboration. So we are going to be taking lessons from some work that's been funded by the Bayer Foundation. Sorry. So my AI is listening in and responding. So this last one is going to be about this work funded by the Bayer Foundation, which what it did is it looked at how can you bring 2 successful innovators to partner together and then amplify their level of scale. So I'd like to invite you for that particular workshop. It's going to be in the afternoon, 3 exciting panels. If you want to get a piece of the Collabrium, please join us. Thank you very much.
Okay, so they're your sessions for today. It's a chance now to